I've been a part of a couple of different programs, and they haven't been what they promised they would, but the ideas that you have, Lee, and the coaching that you provided for me have helped us immensely. So if you're struggling with those things in particular, you have to find a coach and a mentor. And, I don't know of anybody better.
Oh, thank you, Josh. I really appreciate it. You're my best student for sure because you're out there kicking everybody's ass, okay? What's up, everybody? Got a special episode of the Blue Collar Boardroom here. This is the first guest of the podcast, a guy who has scaled his business. At that time, it was a growing company, over 25 million. Where I don't even know how much they ended the year at, where they're at. This is Josh Jerge from SmartRoof. Man, welcome to the Blue Collar Boardroom, man.
It's good to be back, brother. Back where it all started.
Yeah, man. And my mission is to help blue-collar entrepreneurs build wealth and live their purpose, telling stories of guys like Josh. It's inspiring, and I'm grateful that I get to share Josh's story with you. Josh is a guy that went to school. He went for a conventional way. I wanted to be a sports agent. That was I saw Jerry Maguire. I wanted to make deals with stars, man. So when you decided you wanted to become a roofer, that wasn't something that the people that you went to college with thought was all that cool.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And I'm happy to say that I'm glad I didn't go down that career path. I don't know where that would lead to now with all that's going on with sports and testing and players sitting out and what that does for contracts. But I'm glad that I don't have to deal with it now. So,
amen.
How was your year, brother? How'd you guys end up?
This year was great. It was the best year of all time for our RCA. And for a lot of reasons, man. You inspired us to reward our sales guys per contract. We held our guys to a different standard. And this is really what I coach and work with other contractors. Iron sharpens iron. And, the biggest thing this year during COVID, I stopped my guys from knocking doors. And I sent a letter out to tell them not to go door to door. And 2 weeks into it, we were really down on our morale. And you told me, you're like, Lee, we had our best sales weeks ever. And so as soon as I heard that, dude, I released the hounds. I was like, you know what? We're going to have to use social distancing, use our masks. We're going to go door to door while people are at home. And same thing happened for us. Our best sales weeks of all time. We had weeks where we sold nearly 300 contracts. So in this new uncertain age, is door to door dead?
Oh, no, man. If anything, it's better than ever. You just got to pivot a little bit and reinvent yourself. You can't go inside anybody's house usually nowadays. And you got to make sure you account for distance and wear a mask. But other than that, everybody's home and everybody wants to spend money on their house. And, our industry, if you're not having your best year ever, you're doing something wrong.
It's the modern day gold rush of servicing America's homes and roofing, siding, gutters, windows. Those are expensive parts of the house, but building the house, the interior of the house, it doesn't matter. If you're a contractor, you can learn from Josh's principles. Because when I first started working with him, he was a $16 million business, and that was only 4 or 5 years into it. 3 years later, I don't even know how many millions of dollars they built. Where'd you end up this last year?
Yeah, so we always set out to double our previous year, and we hit that goal again this year, but it wouldn't have happened if, we gave into the fear that a lot of guys in the industry gave into, when everything first started happening. Nobody really knew what was going on, but I think that what allowed us to push ahead and ultimately hit our goal at the end of the year was, even though we didn't know anything, just like no one else knew anything, I did know that the right thing to do is never make decisions based off of fear. And, I think that really allowed us to be free to continue to operate safely, and ultimately smash our goal at the end of the year. And I think this year is going to be even better. I think we'll hit our goal, our target again this year.
Well, when it all happened, the thing that you have to think about if you're a contracting company is, are they going to shut us down? Are we going to be able to continue to operate? We were able to continue to operate. We are a part of a necessary group. And, the one thing about it is that I was living in fear a little bit. And, the thing about it is basically, having a group of guys that, during those weekly calls, sharing their experience, strengths, and hopes, just kind of gave everybody what we were all doing it for. I do it to help blue collars build wealth and live their purpose. I want to help guys in the roofing business learn how to sell, how to build a book of business. And my loyalty is to my group of entrepreneurs. I'm here to provide 100% customer satisfaction. But when it comes down to it, the people in my company are my family. And my family that I install roofs for, I may see them once every 20 years, but the people that are out there working and selling the roofs, they're the ones that matter most. And so when I told them they couldn't go door to door because I was scared, that's really where you can cut the lifeblood. And I saw so many contractors act in fear and continue to act in fear. They had a recession this year in sales, and it's because they didn't adopt new ways. And just kind of like Bruce Lee, you got to be like water. You are instantly adaptable. And, the biggest thing that, you said is that you weren't going to let fear control you. And so a lot of people are afraid of advertising on the internet, or they're afraid of putting themselves on social media. And one of the things I teach people is how to become a social sales king, which obviously you want to do more of. But, what are some key takeaways that helped you in that department this year?
Yeah, I think that, like you said, the biggest thing is just not allowing the decisions you make to be based in fear. You want them to be based in your core values and what you believe in. And if you look at what's still happening today, a lot of people literally just want to go to work. They literally just want the ability to go to work and earn a paycheck. To look at hospitality and restaurants and things. And they would kill for the opportunity just to go to work, just to provide for their family, just to make a rent payment. And they can't do it. And I think that we're so blessed as essential businesses to be able to help those people. There's an army of people who just want to be able to put the work in, entering the workforce right now. I can't even tell you how many I've talked to personally, my team has talked to in the last couple of months, where they're out of options and they got to enter a new industry. And we have the ability to help them and welcome them with open arms. And a lot of these guys that start even just the last couple of weeks for us are already destroying it. So if you're really trying to make an impact and make a difference, and you're not targeting, people that are in the hospitality and restaurant industries, those guys are hungry right now. And you can make a significant impact in their life and in their family's life, because right now they might have a check on the way, but that's not going to last very long.
No, it's certainly not going to last very long, but there's been more talent on the sidelines right now than there's ever been. And, I used to say that it was hard to find good people on Indeed, but right now we're finding good people through job postings, through online job postings, and it's separating the serious from the curious that is the most important thing. It's using tools like Zoom, my online training university, but it's also about making about a hardcore door-to-door sales culture. Now, I got in trouble on the internet. I threw a big stink by giving away Rolexes. You also gave away a Rolex. And so tell us how that was really good for your sales culture and what you did to drive sales. And that was actually during the pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right in the middle of it, which was, it was really cool to see, the guys that won those watches, where they come from, the adversity they're facing, in the early days of the pandemic, and then just trusting the things that we believe in and following that. And, 60 to 90 days later, walking out with a Rolex on their wrist is insane to watch. I took that out of your book, man. I saw that. I don't know who ridiculed you for that, but I think that's a phenomenal way to reward people for the hard work that they put in. It's an amazing reminder that, time is the most valuable thing that we have. And when you put that watch on, it's an amazing reminder that your time was well spent.
Amen. And so it was not just giving away a Rolex. You held a Final Four style sales tournament. You matched up your sales guy. You got the team involved by creating video content, even giving updates and play-by-plays. And so how'd you lay that all out?
Yeah, so we just ran it just like March Madness, right? So you have qualifying rounds. You have 64 guys that get in as your teams, and played 2-week rounds head-to-head. And at the end, the Final Four got Rolex oysters, and the champion got a Daytona.
Oh, nice. That's epic. More importantly, everybody got to compete. Iron sharpens irons. And, this last week we had a sales contest where I gave the office group that had the most sales, a fishing trip. Now, you can only take 6 people on a fishing trip, but let's say a good fishing trip cost the company $1,200, $1,500. Well, each office battled Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They were battling. 7 days to win this. The winning office sold 71 deals, but they wanted to be the guys that took pictures to show that everyone else, hey, we got to go on the fishing trip. We won. It was a camaraderie, team building thing. And basically, people want to be recognized. And, whenever sales guys aren't selling, it's all a lot of because you're not paying attention. You ever notice that these guys don't pay attention to the activity? So how many sales guys you got, Josh?
Right now we have just over 60.
And how do you pay attention to their activity? And how do you make sure and hold them accountable? Like, how do you manage that sales team?
Yeah, so we have to break it up into smaller teams because 60, soon to be 70 people is a lot for one person to manage. So you need to break up into smaller, almost like 6-7 man teams, and then you can get them competing against each other as well, right? And that really breeds a lot of competition. You have a sense of ownership and a sense of camaraderie on a smaller scale. When you're contributing to 60 people, it can seem like your work gets lost. When you're contributing to a team of 4, 5, 6 guys, and you carry your weight, that really means a lot, not just for you, but for the guy right next to you. And and then recognizing them, like you said at the end, like not just holding them accountable, but having that target that they're working towards, whether it's a Rolex or a fishing trip or a vacation with their wife or their girlfriend. People value those types, especially right now when so many people are just trying to survive, and we're providing opportunities for people to thrive. And it's contagious, right? Like everybody who is a part of our team right now is going to their friends in the restaurant and hospitality industries and saying, yeah, hey, next week I'm going on this trip with my wife, and I got paid tons of in commissions to do it, and the company's sending me, and like those stories aren't getting told right now. And it really stands out in friend circles, right? If you're looking to find recruits, the best recruits are always referrals, right? They are already a part of the family. They just need to be, brought into to the office. And, if you can do that, if you can hold people accountable, and the most important thing is making sure that you understand what they want. And sometimes it is the fishing trip, sometimes it is a Rolex, but everyone is different. It's what makes life interesting is we're not all the same. People have different wants, and you have to make sure that the vision for your company is big enough for everyone's dreams to fit inside of it.
Amen.
And if you can do that, then you have a lot of really inspired people that they're not just working so that you can hit sales numbers, like they're working towards their dreams. And if you can create that, you're helping so many people. And then at the end of the year, you'll look up and you'll see that measuring stick, and it'll be where you want it to be.
Amen, brother. And the one thing about it is that we are in an unbelievable opportunity. And what I would do if I were you, I would definitely hold a sales contest and see that the winners get an opportunity to come ball out in Miami, Florida, March 11th through 13th. I've got an epic presentation from Ed Milet. Ed Milet has really, really sold me on selling my team and making my vision big enough that my team's vision can fit inside of it. And, I'm really excited for everybody to get to know you. And I wanted to invite you to the 8-figure contractor panel, because I really believe that the people will benefit from what SmartRoof's able to do. Like, how long has SmartRoof been in business?
So we just passed year 6.
So how many roofs do you know how many roofs y'all did last year?
Last year we did about 2,000 roofs.
That is a big numbers. That's big volume. You're in Virginia, where the claims are big, they're heavy, and you have consistent momentum. And so you're doing it mostly through door to door. But one of the biggest things that people liked about our first episode was your hybrid approach to retail. And so how was your retail division this year?
Yeah, so retail was it was more challenging than the storm side of things because of social distancing. So we really had to reinvent ourselves and kill the old version of what we were doing and come out with something completely new where we're pitching virtually, using the Eagle View, using slide decks that we've had to create that really pop and help bring things to life, because you can't be in the house with the customer. But at the end of the day, it's still the same steps and the same process. You're just not in their home with them. And at the end, we hit those targets as well. We had a little bit of a drop off because it was a lot harder to recreate that process. But at the end of the year, we hit those goals as well on the retail side. The storm side was pretty easy transition. We just implemented Zoom and DocuSign and rolled right through it. But the retail side of things was a little bit tougher because we had to create an entirely new process.
Well, the one thing about it is that your process of going through the insurance claims, if they get denied, referring them to a separate team, having that team come
Mhm.
back and sit down with them with the roof in a bag, go through the
Right.
roof in a bag in person and let them hold their hands on it. That was the challenging part. Now
Right.
you got to
Exactly.
find a way to put their hands on it through Zoom. And,
Exactly.
so those same in-home closers were able to go and close through Zoom, all through showing demonstrations and slide decks, correct?
Yep. Exactly.
And it was very close
And
to what was your like 50% was last time you closed about 50% of the appointments you set?
yeah, it dropped off for a little bit while we figured it out, and then went right back up to where it was before.
And
So
what percentage of your deals you think are retail?
we're last year is about 65-35. So 65 storm, 35 retail, and it's slowly shifting more and more each year toward the storm side of things. Since I've gotten to know you and um, got to know that side of the industry better, we've slowly shifted more towards that.
Well, it's
What about
because
you guys? Did you guys do any retail this year?
yeah, we did a lot of cash deals. We did cash commercial coatings. We did a fair amount of financing, but the reality is that down here, whenever we get a Naples roof, we take it to litigation. We just offer them a little bit of a discount and get them to pay cash. And a lot of times they have the
Mhm.
money, and it's not a financing deal, but they do. And I would say, I don't know, 15% of the projects we did are cash. I need to be more of a retail roofer, and I look to collaborate with you more on that. And that's what I hope that you bring to the 8-figure panel if you have time, March 11th through 13th, because
Yeah,
basically,
man, of course.
the retail is something that a lot of the guys don't understand. They don't understand how to build value, and they shortcut that whole sales process, and it leaves 35% of 2,000 roofs. That would be that you'd be missing out on 600 roofs, and those are roofs that
Yeah.
you get paid in full when you're finished, versus the roofs that you have to wait on, which is a lot better for businesses' profitability, bottom line, cash flow, and so I really think that that's the reason why your company's rising to the top. And you said it's 7 years, right?
So going on 6 years. Six
Going
years.
on going on 6 years, and
Yep.
rising up the list of top 100 companies. The thing is that next year, if we're going to do what we've done every year before, which is double sales, we're going to be penetrating the top 10 and then penetrating the top 5. And I can't wait to do it together, because what we're doing is setting a new standard that the new breed of roofer is willing to collaborate to dominate. Um, One of the things I felt like I had to become a better person physically, mentally, and spiritually to be the leader to carry both missions. And
Mhm.
this year, one of the things that I've been doing is just slowing down to speed up by meditating more, working out more, and I've taken up a lot of these like boxing workouts, and to be real, it's a big investment of time with two businesses. But the energy, I had someone on the phone with me before I got on the phone with you, like, dude, what are you on? Where does this energy come from? It comes from having so much purpose. It comes from having so much blood, sweat, and tears, and then being in a position where you can make an impact on the world, and being so excited to share with other people. And this idea that we're roofers so that we can't collaborate. It's insane. And you're the guy that came in here, even though you knew more about retail than I did. You had background from power home remodeling, but you wanted the insight on insurance. You wanted the insight on social media. You wanted the insight on commercial. So you're willing to say, okay, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to learn. And Josh was my first high paying weekly coaching client. He's been with us. How long has it been, Josh?
3 years now, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
it's going
Yeah,
on
3 years.
3 years, and the movement has really grown towards what we started together, where I offer access and coaching on a weekly coaching call where we have private conversations. And what I've added this year to it, Josh, is quarterly live events. And what we did, you didn't get to make it down here, but we had a private elite group, and we're going to have private trainings at this Blue Collar American Dream Conference for the elite members as well. So, what I want you to do this time is come here with the goal to create content. Come here with the goal of collecting salesperson testimonials while they're on a yacht. On Sunday, we're renting a yacht. So get the SmartRoof yacht, and,
Right.
use it as an opportunity to create an epic video. Ironically, Live Nightclub is either going to be opening night or we're going to rent it out. And, not to say that we're there to pop bottles to be negative, but we're there to celebrate the fact that we can come back together, that America is coming back together, that our companies grew, that we have an opportunity. And that's our once a year time to really kind of have fun. And, I just think about this awesome venue and all the beautiful people of Miami, all the roofers. You open the doors, people pour in. And this is the type of lifestyle content that I try and teach people in the Social Sales King Blueprint. And so me and you, we did that first podcast to kind of get you comfortable on being on camera and starts helping you create content, right?
But that was good, man. I'm super happy that we did that, because I definitely live in front of people I feel very comfortable, but in front of the camera was definitely a new experience back then. And thanks to your guidance, I've gotten a lot more comfortable. Hopefully that comes across in this video.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I mean, you've made big gains, but your team has been able to do video sales and generate leads through Facebook. This year, I noticed a lot more of your guys making the videos. How'd you get that participation, and what were those results?
Yeah, so that went really well. We basically held a competition for best video, and then the rules had to be 30 seconds. You had to talk about three topics that we gave them, and then we played all the videos in front of the entire sales team at the sales meeting. We voted on who won, and I forget what the winner got, but the winner got something. But out of all those videos, we got some really good content we were able to use that helped you guys open up some new neighborhoods, generate some leads. I would say that was overall a massive success. Yeah, I mean, I like what you're saying, man, about like the celebration. I think that right now, like, people will kind of frown on it, but it's so important that you know why you're doing it. You hold your team accountable, right? And then when you hit your goals, you have to celebrate, right? What is the purpose of all of this if you're not going to celebrate? And for some people, celebration might mean a quiet weekend with their wife, but for a lot of people, and the age group, the demographic that we're targeting, that means like going out and have a good time with all their friends. And the culture we've created, like, everyone wants to hang out with each other outside of work, right? So like, why not go enjoy yourselves outside of work? As long as you're not, doing things that you shouldn't be doing, there's nothing wrong with celebrating, after you put all that hard work in.
So now I want to ask you really, y'all been able to manage a partnership. You and Dan. Dan is your partner in this business, and y'all have a real synergetic relationship. So talk to me a little bit about Dan's role, yours role. How a lot of roofers have partnerships, they don't work. Your partnership has obviously worked really well. So I've been partners with my dad since the beginning, and there's a give and take when it comes to working with people. But what's the benefit of having a partner, and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that, when entrepreneurship is incredibly difficult on your own, you got to have people that you can count on. And there's nothing that I feel like I can't count on with Dan. Like, if I, for some reason, couldn't make this podcast, I have zero hesitation. Like, hey man, can you go talk to Lee and, do this podcast for me? There's nothing that I can't delegate. And he can do the same thing with me. He had to be out of the office for a couple of weeks recently, and I was able to handle all of his responsibilities, no problem, no questions asked. And I think that in a lot of businesses, especially with roofers and running a small company, they don't have that guy that they can lean on. And, if you end up, instead of being a business owner, you end up being self-employed. And when the employee is out, the business falls apart. So I think it's important that if you don't have a business partner, that's okay, but you got to start grooming somebody that can handle your responsibilities, when you're out. I know that you got a really strong partner in Dave. What's your guys' division of labor?
So Dave is the general manager of all the Louisiana operations. So he's like a regional manager. And he had the opportunity to be the director of operations, but he saw more profits in creating a $50 million book of business and taking a percentage of the profits. So that's what he elected on. My wife stepped up this year, dude. She stepped up in operations of the company. I have to give an incredible shout out to her. And we put together an internal supplement team, an internal collections team, and hired a lot more accountants and people internally to keep up with growth. And my wife's really stepped up there. James, I've got a guy that's like number 2 when it comes to building services. I even then brought in my cousin, who's my uncle's son, who had all the experience from the other big roofing company. And so we make up a board that is, a lot smarter than me. And, I can tell you that this year, the biggest thing I've been grateful for has been able to, not have to make every decision and kind of bounce it off of everybody. And sometimes my wife and I aren't exactly on the same page with every business decision, but working through it has made her a better business person, and it's made me respect her more, definitely as a complete business woman. Anyways, it's been great, but it allows me to do what I love, dude. I love to create content. I love to generate marketing campaigns. I love all these different things. And without people, then I don't have the freedom. And to me, freedom is more important than money. I don't even do it for points. I mean, I don't do it for money. I do it for points. I mean, I want to score high on the scoreboard, but I want jets and planes and investments and passive income. And I feel like I'm poor still, and I'm trying to get away from the middle class still. But my point is that the division of labor happens like this in our company. You got those people I talked about, but then you have a general manager, and at that office, that person is in charge of profitability. If there's bad draws, if there's negative jobs, it comes out of his pay. And, he makes a percentage of the profit of the book of business. And basically, he has a sales manager. Sales manager gets paid an override on his team. Sales managers usually are broke down not quite to 6 or 7, which is a good point. I've got them down to about 15, but I need to be breaking them teams down even more. It's a very, very good point. And then, we have a production manager and office manager in every location. And then some of our locations like Pensacola, where they're building a lot more roofs, like, 40, 50 roofs a week, there's multiple production managers and quality control guys as well. So, I'll tell you what, bro, I made the switch this year, and I'm in the current switch to Job Nimbus. And
Oh, wow.
it's because I had a software. I had a Claim Express, and it was a great software. Right. And one of the things, it didn't have a digital production board. It didn't do two-way texting. It didn't have a calendar for builds. And there was some issues with connectivity to other softwares like Hover, Hell Recon, Company Cam, QuickBooks, our invoicing and collections. So really, it was about Job Nimbus's ability to communicate with all the softwares. And I'm currently in a complete. People say their companies are too big to make a pivot, but we're completely changing the CRMs right now. And even though we're going to build a lot, next year. Mm-hmm. I'll still know, in order for me to get to where I need to be, I got to kill the old me. Yeah. And it's because in running your own supplement team and running your own collections department, you realize at different stages of the process, sometimes we lose sight of when the supplement's been submitted, when it's been approved, what's missing from us getting our money, and it gets lost in those notes or in that dashboard. And so, anyways, I'm really pumped about update on a new CRM. What's new for SmartRoof? What's
yeah, man. We went through the same growing pains this year. So, as you scale the systems and processes that worked, when you're half of the size that you currently are, they don't work anymore. So you're constantly having to reinvent yourself, which is good, because every time that we do that, we have the opportunity to make change, right? Like, I think what you said is super powerful and accurate. It holds a lot of people back. We're like, well, I've scaled too big. I can't change my processes. Dude, what do you think happens when major companies acquire smaller companies? What do you think happens when big banks acquire small banks? Like, they have to integrate their systems and processes together, right? Like, two separate functioning large entities have to merge, right? So as long as you stay open-minded and don't, give yourself the excuse of you can't make change, I think that ultimately that's going to be the death of a lot of companies. I'm reading a book right now called The Innovator's Dilemma. Have you read that?
No, I will. I'm reading a book called
You should totally read that.
Winning by Jack Welch. It talks about mergers and acquisitions. He was CEO of General Electric, and it's absolutely true. You have to kill the old you to become the new you in all different areas in life and growth. And contractors are really, they want to remain the same. There's this influencer who preaches you should only build your business to 5 million. Bigger businesses are worse businesses. They provide. That's completely wrong.
No, 100%.
So this myth that the company is bigger is bad. It's wrong, because my company it's the combination of everybody's mind. And if you're able to harness the power of a group of people's mind, and whether it's 60 people or 100 people. The whole point is that your salespeople come up with new ways to sell deals. Your marketing people come up with new ways to market. You get added advancements to your builds, collection, supplement processes. New problems come up and new solutions make the whole system better. And so
Yeah.
the biggest value of having a lot of people is when you're in mine and Josh's shoes, you actually start to see all your hard work from the beginning of building a business being worth it, because you begin to have freedom and you get to focus on what drives the most impact and what revenue does most. And the other thing is the company has this next man up philosophy, that one man who has influence, because let's say you have a breadwinner, a manager, a sales manager, and they build a lot of influence in your company and you want to stay a certain size. Well, what happens when that sales manager says, I'm going to go after your company and I'm going to take your sales guys and your team, and you lose half of your business because you want to stay the same size? And so,
Right.
my point is that, you're either growing or you're dying. And if your goal is to stay the same so you can make $1 million by only doing $5 million in a book of business, minimizing how much work you have to do, what you're going to do is you're going to talk yourself out of a fucking job,
Yep.
and out of growth in your business and out of the
Yes.
benefit that you get when you're a business owner like me. Because someone asked me why I'm so energetic and happy. It has to do with how many people that I know are getting growth inside RRCA and Sky Diamonds University. And, having a bigger company means more success stories. What do those success stories do for you?
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's my purpose, right? So just like you, we want to be, the first $1 billion
No, you
roofing
want to be the
company, right?
largest. Just go ahead and say it. You want to be the largest. We're in a competition to be number one. It's okay.
Yeah. Once we get to $1 billion, then we'll go for $2 billion.
Okay.
So I think that I think people hold themselves back because it can be whatever, for whatever reason. But the problem when you focus on the $5 million company, you focus on a small company, or you put a cap on it, is what happens to your people, right? Your business is only good as your people. You can create excellent systems and processes, but what about their future, right? It's not natural. You're seeing a lot in the world right now. It is not natural for humans not to make progress, right? It's not natural for us to be stagnant and survive. We're created to thrive, right? And if the culture of your company doesn't allow for that, then it's only a matter of time before you have what you just talked about, where people don't want to work for you anymore because there's no hope of a future. That most people don't want to stay where they are, right? What is the point of getting out of bed in the morning if you're just going to be where you were yesterday? You should always be constantly thriving and striving for the next level. And if you kill that in your company, you're killing your business, right? Especially
it's funny because I have a good production manager in my company from that same guy who lost a good guy to me specifically, who plugged a hole and helped me grow a key division, all because he's so sold on this idea that staying small is better. Dude, it's not better. Okay. And the bottom line is that I don't believe that my growth system is if I can't execute it, and if you can't execute it, and if the people within the mastermind can't execute it, what is my growth system? What are my YouTube videos? If other people aren't recruiting salespeople, generating leads, closing more deals, they're inspired to build bigger businesses, and they're given real actionable data, what content am I creating? Why am I doing it? I'm not here just to entertain you. It's great that you find this entertaining, but my purpose is to move you, because if you continue to do the same things and get the same results, then I don't even want your attention. I only want to deal with growth-minded people. When a roofer calls me and tells me they don't want to grow, I hang up the phone. I had a guy call me. He was a leader, and he had a software company. And he's, Lee, I got a software I want to sell you. And I got a $30 million business, 7 locations. I said, well, 7 locations, 30 million is not even 5 million a location. How about we talk about getting those locations to 10 million a location? What do you think? He said, Lee, I'm not trying to grow my business. I said, what the come on, dog, bye.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to talk to you. I'm only focused on people that are after, this growth idea, because scarcity breeds negativity. It breeds, you got all kinds of time to do nothing, and you're not focused on growth, and you're not living your purpose. That's where you drink too much. That's where you end up doing drugs. That's where you end up drinking and driving and getting arrested. And so, basically, I'm not a perfect guy, but the way that I stay on my path is I go big at impact people. I go big at scaling my companies, and at success stories, I want as many as possible because I only believe that my life, that's the value of my life. How many success stories, people were you able to help? And, that's where there's a lot of alignment between me and you. And, SmartRoof has a real special component. You did a video early on in your digital door knocking journey. You were giving away a roof. You had your sales guys stop and they went and rebuilt a roof. It was for Habitat for Humanity. Did y'all do any charity work like that? Because I know you got a ton of business, off of the ad campaign from that. But did y'all continue that this year?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That roof actually turned out really good for having all the sales guys.
And you had the sales guys roof it. Nice.
Yeah. We had a couple foremen out there, but
I followed.
It was the salesman. Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, well, I did 2 squares. That way somebody can say, Lee, do you actually have a roofed a house? I'm like, yeah, I have. I've done, a dog house, a repair in my old neighborhood, and 2 squares. That's how much I've roofed.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. The last couple of years, we've kind of pivoted a little bit to giving back monetarily and hosting events for the team. So this past year, we did a golf tournament at this first annual SmartRoof Open. And we had a 5K that we ran. And that 5K was really important for, like you're talking about, you got to kill the old version of yourself. For us to make it through those first 3 or 4 months after the lockdowns, your body needed to be physically ready to support your mind through all of that. So we did the 5K to benefit St Judes, and between the golf tournament and the 5K, we raised over $65,000 for St Judes this past year. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That for me is along with making a difference in our employees' lives and then giving back to the community and offering a service to our customers it makes their lives easier, not more difficult. If we achieve all 3 of those things, then I can look back on my life when I'm 80 and say I lived a full life.
Amen.
A lot of people, when you're talking about the smaller mindset of a smaller company, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what makes you happy, right? But you're just not going to be able to make as big of an impact, and you're going to look back when you're 80 and be like, I wonder if I really went for it, if I could have gone past 5 million, And I would rather lose it all than die with that regret.
That's right, baby. 50 Cent, get rich or die trying. We ain't playing. And when I talk about rich, I'm not talking about money, baby. I'm talking about all them success stories, all them blue-collar entrepreneurs living a life of freedom, financial freedom. And, I just look at this great reset as a great opportunity for contractors. The new gold rush is the home service contracting industry. And when I meditate, I think about a Noah's Ark of entrepreneurs that jump on the ship and are able to learn through our methods, whether it's selling roofs or selling other things. You're a contractor. You should come to the Blue Collar American Dream Conference. And what's funny, Josh, is, when COVID hit, I released the book, Contracting Growth Secrets. Lots of other contractors bought it. But we're going to have regular remodeling guys. We're going to have solar guys. We're going to have a diverse group. It's not just going to be roofers. One of our guys, Ricky Southers, bought the program last year. He's a retail roofer. He really didn't do that much storm work, but his business went from $2 million to $8 million. And he did it by generating leads and through closing those leads on retail projects through Facebook, but in-person leads. Anyways, my point is we're going to have a good mix of people that aren't just storm restoration guys. And I think that, all the guys that are going to be speaking are my coaches. So Ed, he gave me insight on so many different things that helped me step up as a CEO, as a leader of a big company that really kind of helped me go from the jump of, where I was, which I had, the first bunch of sales that we had after the hurricane that allows us to post big numbers, we had to produce it, and we had a little bit of a dip, and I had to make a comeback. I had to actually make a comeback. I didn't just continue to double sales. I sold a bunch of roofs that I had to build, and I had a little bit of a plateau over a 2-year period, and I needed to double. And so I had to step up this year. Ed helped me step up. So, beyond that, Brad's helped me a lot over the years. He's a hilarious dude, and you're going to get behind the scenes with him. The VIP experience is going to be where everybody gets to, chop it up with these guys. These guys are genuine human beings who are there to help other entrepreneurs. There hadn't been a lot of events. There's not a lot of time for us to get out. There's people that are after our American dream, that want us to be afraid in our homes, that don't want us knocking doors, that don't want us to get together. But let me tell you, I've already been to one of these conferences, and dude, my body is my mask. How hard I work out in the gym and what I do to focus on positive things and how I help people, that's my mask. And there is mask required at the Fontainebleau. They do check your temperature before you get in there. It's a hotel. They have, they're going to protect you. But at the same time, you got to protect yourself. And if you're worried about your health and condition, then go to the gym and lose 50 pounds so that you can come to the conference and take that seriously. You know what I mean? Quit smoking cigarettes. I did. I'm not saying this to you because I'm one of these guys that didn't have the problem. I smoked cigarettes, and it hampered my physical health. I'm naturally a competition guy, dude. And anyways, I think that this event is going to be a lot different because we got the best venue, we got big speakers, but we also have legitimate results. Results like Josh. Josh was my first coaching client. And, guys like Chris Construction, who's going to have their own yacht there, and they went from about 14 million to 20 million this year. And, they're going to tell their story as a company that is a father-son company. The uncle's involved in the company. It's an incredible group of people. I learned from all my students. And so this system, it's not mine. It's from my predecessors. It's from the people who have coached me. And it's from people like you, Josh, who have taught me things. And it's a combination of all that stuff. And the reason why I want all contractors to come is because, without this information, if they don't have a sales team, if they don't have recruiting, that's the biggest thing. Everyone wants to talk about operations, but what's the most important thing to you in roofing?
Oh, it's 100% the sales team, because you can't build anything if you don't have anything to build.
So let's focus on the things you do to keep the sales team churning, because I think there's a lot to unpack there. Can you tell me your secret sauce? Because listen, you're way more efficient. Look, I've got over 100 sales guys and similar numbers last year. You've got 60 sales guys. So you're getting close to 7 figures per sales rep average. The industry standard is $300,000 to $500,000 per rep. How are you doubling the industry standard with your sales management?
Yeah, it's so funny. We talked about this at our kickoff meeting. So what it really comes down to is raising the standard. I think that Ed Milet talks about this, as well as Tony Robbins, but you don't get the things that you want. You get the things that you can't live without, right? Like, everyone says that they don't have enough money for a vacation, but they can go out and buy $1,000 iPhone the day it comes out, right? You get your minimums. And we really focus on taking each individual person, putting them in an environment where they can get mentorship and coaching, not just from one person. One person, like I said, can't lead 70 people, but creating a team of mentors that can take a small group of guys and help them raise the standard and raise the floor, and not accept just paying their bills, not accept just being able to, make their car payment or their rent payment, or accept living in their parents' basement, but help them realize that life is about more than that, and to bring meaning to, living your full potential and helping people. Like I was talking about earlier, put yourself in your shoes when you're 80. Look back on your life. Are you happy? If you do what you're doing now, whatever position you're in life, whatever you've done, you put yourself there, right? So if you look back at your life when you're 80 and you continue doing the same things that have put you where you are now, will you say, I lived a full life? Right? And a lot of people will never have done that. They have no idea what they want. They just know that they need to pay their rent and they need to pay their car payment, whatever bills they have. That's it. And they get that consistently. And just helping them realize that there's such a higher standard and a higher level of living, and to not accept anything but the best for themselves. Because when you take care of yourself, you can turn around and you can help your family. You can help the people that maybe physically or mentally can't go out and make a living like, an able-bodied person could, or, help somebody who's elderly who made the wrong decisions, right? Don't be that guy that turns 75, 80 years old and has to go find another job because he made the safe choices throughout his whole life. Like, I think you're seeing right now more than ever, like, the impact that making the safe choice has on your life. And like, if you can't learn from that, if you can't look around the world right now and say, I don't want that for myself, like you're like,
Let's
you
unpack the
need a
safe choice
fucking
real
wake
quick.
up call.
The
Yeah.
safe choice is, I want to be a waiter or a bartender. I make $200 a night. I make $100 a day. I make $150 a day. The safe choice is, I want to keep my, I feel for my brother-in-law. He's dealing with some stuff in the education system, and they're coming down on him hard. And he loves coaching soccer and he loves educating kids, but they don't pay him enough. And he doesn't really want to sell. He doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, but they're forcing it on him because the world, the forces of average, they are not about to just let you live off of meek. The point is the world is expensive as fuck. And whenever something bad happens, then you're going to get the shit kicked out of you because you weren't prepared. And unfortunately, people don't have the opportunity to get paid based off of their performance, to get paid what they're worth. They don't, and that, if they were paid what they were worth, maybe they could protect themselves in uncertain times. But my whole point is that anyone that has the ability to sell, anyone that is in a business that is essential, that is always going to be necessary, then they are going to have a vehicle to build wealth no matter what happens. And as technology comes for more contractors, we are a commodity. You do have to figure out how to sell virtually. You do have to learn how to use social media. And that's what a lot of I teach. I mean, I was just a door-to-door and word-of-mouth guy. Josh, his whole business is management of door-to-door sales teams and really making the most out of each sales presentation. But, talk to me a little bit about managing leads, because we started generating more leads. That creates a new problem. How do you manage leads, not create lead babies? How do you use leads to motivate door-to-door guys? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the leads, they don't just go to anybody. They go to the guys that have earned them, right? Because like you said, the lead baby idea, it just breeds laziness. And to me, you and I have talked about this before, but when you're generating leads, it's super important, right? It helps you get into gated communities. It helps you open up new areas. It doesn't require hiring new people, right? Like, and there's value in that for sure. But the value of going out and knocking, you get to hand select each ticket, right? You get to hand select the houses that you want and not just hope that they fall into your marketing bucket and then hope that they get issued to the right guy that goes out there and closes it. Like, when you're going out and you're knocking, you're deciding that I want that ticket, right? And there's a lot more conviction when you go and you talk to that homeowner, as opposed to, here's a lead. Oh, wow, look, it's a good one, but I haven't sold my last 5, so I'm probably not going to sell this one either, and completely wasting it, right? Like, you're committing when you're knocking on the door, you're committing that I want this, right? It didn't just happenstance. You're not lucky. Like, you're going out and you're choosing that ticket. And I think that that's something that really separates us from the rest of the industry and allows us to do more with less, because our average ticket is pretty high, I think, for a residential roofing company. It's almost 50,000.
Jesus, that's your average ticket?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what is that? An upsell to windows? Is that doors? Is what?
That's all of the above. So, but obviously you have tickets that come in under that, right? But if you know what you're doing, as a veteran guy's been here for a year, that should be your average.
Wow.
Like, yeah. I mean, if you're not doing that, you're just afraid to go talk to people that live in big houses, literally. That's the only thing holding you back. Yeah.
So, we had a area that got hit with wind. You came in and mopped up, but you've really added locations. And as you expand, you went into some new territories this year, doing storm restoration mostly, right?
Yeah, storm restoration and retail, both. Yep.
And so how many locations did you expand to? What was the challenges in setting up these new locations?
So we opened up the Pennsylvania market that services Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware earlier this year. It's really the same thing, man. I mean, what we do isn't rocket science. I think it's literally just confidence our job as leaders is to build confidence in their team so they can go out and get a result that helps them pound their chest and say, I knew I could do it, and go out and get the next result, and then add all those together and look up at the end of the year and saying, I got everything that I wanted, and those markets are different. Yeah. But every area of the country has areas that are, that have big homes. You know what I mean? Like, you can make the decision on where you're going to go every day. I can go to this neighborhood or I can go to this neighborhood. And if you want to go to the bigger neighborhoods, all you got to do is drive there and not be afraid to go talk to those people. And you can end up, if that's what you focus on, you're by default, you're going to have a bigger average ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're basically the perfect company. You fucking sell 2,000 roofs, 50,000 a roof. Jesus, you're like perfect. Now, give me one thing, all right, that was a very tough thing. I'll go through a tough thing. Let me see. What was the tough thing this year that we dealt with? Let's see. I would say the biggest thing was getting, in Phil Jackson's book, they talk about how when Kobe and Shaq won championships, the reason why the team fell apart afterwards is because Kobe was supposed to be the reason for the championship. No, Shaq was the reason for the championship, and growing pains. Mm-hmm. Getting everyone on alignment was a big deal for me. Everyone jockeying for position as the company grows. The leader has to, give people clear job descriptions, positioning, and as the company grows, people want to. That doesn't always. The guy who's the number 2 today isn't always the guy that's the number 2 next year. And so we had some repositioning of people and getting in alignment. It's really where in these situations people show their true colors a little bit. And I'm very grateful that I have a great inner circle. I just know that, I definitely had to step up as a leader just to manage all the personalities. Now, give me some tough stuff y'all have dealt with, maybe that anyone can relate to, and some insight on how you deal with all the personalities having 60 people.
Yeah, I think it's definitely I don't think anybody's born with that, but it really comes down to listening. You can't just, the same answer doesn't work for everybody, and you got to listen to people and understand what they really want, and then create a position or a role or an opportunity that puts them in a position to thrive. And I think that's something that we've done exceptionally well, is put the right people in the right places. Like, I had a guy that was a sales rep for a year and a half, not the best, not the worst, middle of the road guy, super passionate about what we're doing though as a company. And his background was, he was in the military, and he helped create the process manuals for how to run a submarine. And I'm like, okay, I can leave this guy. And I think a lot of contractors would make the decision to leave that guy in sales because that's like the most valuable position to leave somebody in. But I'm like, all right, this guy, he cares about what we're doing. He cares about the mission. He cares about other people. He wants to see us succeed. He enjoys building these manuals. Like, let's put him in a role where he can help us do that as a company, right? Since we're always constantly growing and evolving, let's put him in a role where he can help create, systems and processes that will account for new growth. And like, he's absolutely thrived in that new role. And I think that a lot of people would never even notice that, and just being in tune with who someone is, because not everybody's the same, and you got to have the right people in the right places. And that really is something that you have to learn. It's the most valuable skill, in my opinion, that you can learn as an entrepreneur, is learning what people want, learning who they are, what they're good at, and then putting them in the role where there's 2 sides of things that they're good at.
You're 100% right, because it's really hard to put a value on that. It's the most important skill as an entrepreneur. But there's something else that it talks about in the book Winning by Jack Welch. It's radical candor. It's being able to say the things that to your friends you don't always want to say. To the people that are in your business, that are your business partners, you holding the line means you're the guy like Michael Jordan that's beating everybody, sort of saying, hey, you're not practicing at your highest level. You're not giving everything to the team. And being at the top means you have to be that guy. Eventually, sometimes you have to have the hard conversations. You seem like a guy that, isn't afraid to basically speak your mind, but you do it in a real professional way. So, talk to me a little bit about that. And I've struggled growing up, making real good friends with the salespeople and managers, such good friends with them that sometimes I have a hard time holding them accountable. And I've gotten better at it years after years, but I see a lot of roofers struggle with the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's the most valuable and the most difficult skill to master. And then once you master it, to continue to grow and scale, you have to be able to teach other people that skill. So like for us in our company right now, like I'm holding a weekly meeting for our leadership on how to do that with their teams. So it's not just me in the company that has the ability to spot someone's strengths or spot someone's weaknesses and put them potentially in a different role that we're going to, thrive more, or realize, hey, this person needs to be promoted, or this person may need to be, maybe they're a good fit for a different team, just not our team. And I think that, the people that struggle to scale just kind of ignore those things, or only focus on, how many sales can I get, or, how perfectly can we build this roof, or whatever it is. They have that one thing that they focus on instead of focusing on your people, and really listening to them and what they want, giving them the path and showing them how they can get what they want, and having that align with the company's targets that's if you can master that, you can scale your company to the moon, I believe.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't matter about your Google presence, your marketing systems.
Yeah.
It all matters about your people in your company. And
Right.
so,
If you want to scale your company, you got to scale people.
yeah, and these guys that are out there leading, in my mind, I want guys like you creating more content that's actually living by example, making, lots of people big impact, but really living it, not giving people false information, trying to make themselves feel better by saying, hey, if you just be complacent and don't try and help as many people as possible, life will be better, and
Right.
shame on the guys that are trying to scale their businesses to the moon, and here's,
I don't know what I'm not familiar with that story. You have to tell me sometime. But
yeah, well,
great.
I mean,
That's interesting.
here's the deal. We'll get into all the details at another date. My biggest point is that in Miami, SmartRoof's going to be well represented. Josh and Dan are going to be on the 8-figure contractor panel. We're going to be getting together with Ed Milet, Brad Lee, Myron Golden, and I brought in UFC heavyweight champion Randy Couture because he's about checking your ego at the door.
Awesome.
When he was a wrestler, he didn't know jiu-jitsu and MMA, and so he was like 30-something years old, 33, and he decided he wanted to be a cage fighter. And so what he had to do is get his ass beat. And sometimes in order to learn, you have to go in there, even though sometimes you have skills, you have to take your lumps. You have to be humble. And I see roofers, they don't want to always collaborate to dominate. They don't like when iron sharpens iron because they want to be the baddest person in the cage. Well, here's the deal. Everybody's got certain skill sets you can learn from, and everybody can catch you with a shot. You can learn from everybody. And Josh has really sharpened up my game. He sharpened up my game in how to hold people accountable. I need to do a better job of it, but breaking my group into smaller teams and really focusing on door-to-door in times of shutdown. This guy's really been a help to me, and insight about retail. Shared a lot of contractors how you should have a separate person going behind your roof doing retail. We've been doing that, and it's definitely been a win. So guys, if you want to come break away to make a breakthrough, Josh, his business has grown rapidly, but it's really because of his skill, his team, his people, surrounding him. What would you say to someone that, maybe saw some of the content, saw me on the internet, but was unsure about how much I cared?
For coaching, right? I think the most important thing when you're discerning whether or not to become part of the program or not is, well, it's very similar to the book that I'm reading right now, The Innovator's Dilemma, where what it talks about in a nutshell is you're so focused on what your business is currently doing that you don't see what's coming, and it wipes out entire industries, and you're left going, what happened, right? And a lot of times it's not that you didn't have the information, and it's not that you didn't see it coming. It said, I'm too busy. And if you're not working on, yes, we are heavy door to door, but if you're not working on a digital presence and digital coaching and, preparing yourself for potentially future lockdowns, right? Nobody knows what the future holds. You're going to end up one of the companies that gets wiped out eventually by some company that's willing to implement technology. So if that's something that you struggle with, or if you're not, currently building your brand and your marketing presence online, even if you don't implement it today, you have to start understanding it You have to start implementing it at some level. Otherwise, you will get wiped out. And I think it's super important that people align themselves with the right company. I've been a part of a couple of different programs, and they haven't been what they promised they would. But the ideas that you have, Lee, and the coaching that you provided for me have helped us immensely. So if you're struggling with those things in particular, you have to find a coach and a mentor. And I don't know of anybody better.
Oh, thank you, Josh. I really appreciate it. You're my best student for sure because you're out there kicking everybody's ass, okay? He's going to be kicking my ass. I promise you. This guy's going to go to $1 billion, and all the way to the top, we're going to push each other to do more. And that's what's really about. There can be two winners. There can be two best. There can be two number one guys at the top switching out from $1.1 billion to $1.2 billion. We don't care. That we're both successful. We're both winning. And our people are also like competing to be the top roofing company out there. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to be recognizing, and I'm going to be putting together my own award show, Social Sales Kings, Elite Contractors, Elite Leadership Contractors. We're going to be not just $1 million sellers, but $1 million collectors, guys that collect $1 million. And we're going to be recognizing the guys that are doing the things that Josh is talking about, future-proofing their businesses. We're going to be recognized as the elite 8-figure contractors who have implemented these things. And we're going to be recognizing, the sales guys who've used the systems to collect $1 million. And so I just want you to know, if you're watching this and you're still on this, let me just go through the last 5 years real quick. Because when I first started out creating content, there was a lot of people that I was friends with in the roofing industry, and they went from friends to I don't like that guy, and that's okay. And it was because they called me a chest beater, a braggadocious guy. And look, I do have enthusiasm about sharing my story, and I love to hear myself talk. I'm sorry. More importantly, I know that if I don't share my story, that my vision and dreams will die. And so 5 years ago, I was desperate about $5 million in business that walked out of my door. And I realized if I didn't create a brand, a social media presence, if I didn't have a way to get in front of a lot more salespeople and get them into my business, that my business was going to die. And using technology to create door-to-door sales teams seems like using a nuclear weapon to kill people with a hammer. But it's a weird analogy that really having a modern day gold rush like home service contracting, a niche like Sky Diamonds, insurance restoration, plugging people in so that they can make the type of impact in our industry quickly. We have something unique, and all we have to do is get that opportunity in front of people and make it sexy. And all of a sudden we have companies that are the fastest growing companies in America. And Josh is, on the way talking about doing these crazy numbers. And, everyone that saw me doing social media is like, that's a waste of time. I hear Lee's coaching people at university because he can't make money in his roofing business. What's this dumbass got with his stupid snake oil stuff now? And, all that stuff. Look, I get it. All right. I have had to get a lot better at my job over the years, coaching, getting results. I've took the lumps. I hadn't been perfect throughout a lot of these things, but one thing's for sure. 5 years ago, I knew that if I didn't build this social media brand, and if I didn't start building a platform to attract top talent, to generate leads, to automate growth, to get customers on demand, so I didn't have to be a storm chaser, I could be a storm catcher. That has happened. And everyone has seen the benefits of building a platform, of automating recruiting, of being able to sell through digital door knocking, of landing the largest jobs strategically, insurance restoration projects that you land with teams. And, this is one of the things that I want to add with you, Josh. And this year, I'm really moving to having a restoration and emergency mitigation division and dispatching to all the major events. And hopefully that division does $50 million in added revenue to my company. And the only way we're going to get to our goal of $200 million in sales is through commercial. If I go on track the way I'm going right now, I might do right over 100 million. I might do right below 100 million. But, the truth is we don't know what's going to happen in 2021. And it's, this diversified playbook, this we use door-to-door, we use digital, but it's all door-to-door really. And it's digital to recruit door-to-door. And it's being able to have only had a few locations. Now there's 7 locations this year. We hope to move to even more locations. And after all that, I just want more efficiency like Josh has. Josh has got guys selling for damn near $1 million per sales rep. And that's what everybody wants. And so, if you're going to watch this and go to this point and then not decide to join us in Miami so you can shake Josh's hand, so you can talk about his insight and pick his brain, and you don't think that you need to build your own platform to start telling your own story. Well, unfortunately, if you're one of these guys that just don't think it's worth your time, you're just going to be wiped out, like Josh said. But I still feel bad for you. I still want you to succeed. Your kids deserve better than that. Your wife deserves better than that. The people that from your community, they look up to you and they want you to stand the test of time. They want you to build a great business. And so, if you don't, here's the thing. Me and Josh are going to continue to grow our businesses, and our business system works. We've seen other people, really take it to crazy limits. There's other roofers out there retail-wise doing nearly $1 billion in sales, and you don't ever hear about them. And, Josh comes from a company, and it's possible. So where's Josh in 5 years?
5 years from now, we're be gunning for $1 billion.
Yeah. And I think that everybody should have a little bit more clear vision of the future. Everybody just kind of thinks they want to make a little this, they want to make a little that, they want to live in this house, they want to have this toy. But the thing about people like me and Josh is, like, we are super clear about how many people we want to help, how we want to scale our companies, I want to buy yachts, I want to buy planes, I want to buy mansions, I want to buy apartments, I want to buy. And here's the deal. That's only because I'm going to help a lot of people. I'm going to take a lot of risk. I'm going to work my blood, sweat, and tears ass and fight for my dreams. And so you damn right we deserve yacht parties on Sunday after the event. And we deserve to rent out Live nightclub and make a music video, Blue Collar Bald Ballers. What's up? So here's the deal.
Here's the video, Blue Collar Ballers. Love it.
Yeah. Come on, man. We're going to get that shave. I got a haircut. I'm getting that Jufro going, dog. I'm looking good. Now, here's the deal. Josh is a part of the elite. You want to change your proximity to people like Josh. You want to hang out with people like me. I started hanging out with people like Ed, like Brad, like Myron, and like Randy Couture. And so on March 11th through 13th, join us. Get your ticket now. Blue Collar Conference. You can get a discount. There'll be a link in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Tune in for more of these episodes. Josh, if somebody watched this and they want to work with you, they want to help your movement. They want coaching from you, mentorship from you. How can they get in touch with you, and where can they go?
Yeah, you can visit our website if you're looking for a new career, smartroofinc.com. And then you can find me on Instagram at Josh Jergens.
You heard it right there. I've got to get Dan on here for an episode. You better set that up. Make sure you tell him that
He's ready whenever you are, brother.
I'm ready. So I'm going to be creating more of these dynamic interviews throughout the year, and it's really y'all's stories that deserve to be told, and it's my job to just kind of get it out there. So, let's get Dan on here for the next one, and can't wait to see everybody down in Miami, bro, and it's going to be a hell of a time. So thanks for doing this, my man.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, see ya.